Welcome to Treasures of Jefferson County. I'm Matt Keeney with JCTV. There are plenty of destinations in our county to enjoy the outdoors and learn more about local history. But there may be none better than right here at Washington State Park, just outside DeSoto. There's so much to do. You can learn more about the Native American tribes who lived here generations ago, or enjoy a nice barbecue down by the river. Let's learn a little more about one of the gems in our area. A picturesque view from high atop the bluffs, a lazy dip in the big river, an up-close look at historic cabins and prehistoric rock carvings, ample activities to keep you busy at one of Missouri's oldest and largest public parks.
Washington State Park is the 10th oldest park, and it is about 2,600 acres. This park was started actually by a donation in 1932 from the Greensfelder family.
But people have been roaming these hills much longer than that. These rock carvings, or petroglyphs, leave clues about a culture that lived here hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
They were carved by what's presumed to be Middle Mississippian Indians between 1000 and 1600 AD. We're not sure exactly why they were carved, if they were part of a hunting ritual or if it was a part of an initiation, but there's some very recognizable symbols such as the thunderbird or different animal tracks.
Staff members say the park contains 75% of the known petroglyphs in Missouri, the largest collection in the state. This wooden walkway allows visitors to get right on top of the carvings. Signs surround the markings, offering onlookers more information. Some say they're the park's most popular attraction.
That's also on the National Register of Archaeological Sites. We take great pride in those. We have people coming from all across the United States just to see the petroglyphs here.
The staff is also proud of 14 historic buildings constructed during the park's infancy between 1934 and 1939. All were built in a rustic 1930s style by Company 1743 of the Civilian Conservation Corps, also called the Thunderbirds, after the mythical creature etched into nearby rocks.
The Civilian Conservation Corps came in to develop the park. They actually had a quarry over by where our campground is now. And of course in the 1930s they didn't have such sophisticated equipment. They did hand quarry most of the rock. They had, I believe, one truck and one tractor at the time. So they used a lot of manpower and mules.
The Civilian Conservation Corps organized in the early 30s as part of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal program. During the Great Depression, the U.S. faced massive unemployment. Hundreds of thousands of unemployed young men signed on to this public relief program to get back to work. Across the country, workers labored on conservation projects designed to preserve the country's natural resources. They planted trees, stocked streams, and laid the groundwork for public parks. That's exactly what the Thunderbirds did here at Washington State Park. This particular company occupies a unique place in our state's history.
What's unusual about them is they are the only all-black conservation corps that worked in Missouri state parks. Company 1743 had about 200 to 300 men. They had full-time doctors and dentists and chefs. Anyway, the men would quarry all this rock and then they built these buildings. And actually the Thunderbird that you see on the front of the lodge was actually hand-carved by a man named James Lamarck. Now, the men in the Thunderbirds had to have some sort of recreation, and so they had actually scheduled boxing matches and baseball matches, and some of them were very talented. James Lamarck was a pitcher, and he actually went on to pitch professionally in the Negro Baseball League and the American League for the Kansas City Monarchs. And he was a left-handed pitcher, and he played with Satchel Paige, who was the right-handed pitcher, so he was very talented.
Today, the Thunderbird Lodge serves as a general store. Visitors can shop here while camping outdoors or staying in one of the rustic cabins. Just down the road, one more historic marker, where you can pay tribute to our veterans who fought in the Forgotten War.
We're on the same parallel as the Korean parallel, and so that was significant, and we'd like to recognize our Korean War veterans here too.
If you don't feel like taking in the park's historic attractions, there are plenty of chances to clear your mind and enjoy the outdoors.
Of course, we have the big river, so we have fishing and we have a beach access. We also have a swimming pool. We also have 11 cabins for rental. We have 51 campsites. We also have watercraft for rental. We have whatever you're looking for. Oh, and we also have 14 miles of hiking trails. Get out and play.
Before you get out and play, you can find more information about Washington State Park on the State Park's website. And as anglers cast their lines into the big river in and around the park, the state of Missouri is always keeping an eye on the local fish population. State biologists recently cruised the big river, catching and releasing fish using an unconventional method. You may call it an electrifying effort to make sure the local fish population is healthy and state regulations are working. On a beautiful fall morning, Missouri State biologists prepare for a fishing trip. Unlike anything most fishing enthusiasts are used to. Instead of bait and a hook, state biologist Kevin Mino and his crew use electricity to snag their catch.
And those are just the negative and positive portions of the booms, and then this is the power cord that comes from the generator.
That puts the electricity into the water. So it shocks. This is what will shock the fish. These little electrodes on these little guys right here help to shock the fish in the water and bring them up.
Animal lovers, don't let the term shock you. Biologists say the electric current momentarily paralyzes the fish, but does not harm them.
We put electricity into the water in a certain form that allows us to kind of mess with the fish's muscles. If they get into our electrical field, they'll be forced to swim up to the front of the boat. We're not really shocking the fish, but we're making their muscles contract. A lot like when you go to the doctor and they hit you on the knee and you can't help that reflex but kick your foot. That's what the electricity is doing to the fish muscles. And as soon as they get out of that field, they're fine, they swim away.
But a person falling into the direct electrical current would not be so lucky. Humans have more developed sensory systems than do fish, so workers could be seriously harmed or even killed if they fell off the boat. That's why research teams stress safety.
First thing we tell them is don't put your hand in the water, okay? You drop anything, leave it be or dip it out with the net. But they're standing on foot switches that are hooked in circuit into our electrical wiring. So if one of them slips off or one of them gets off of that mat, the generator continues to run, but the electricity no longer goes in the water. And I have switches on the back boxes by me as well that turn off if there's something that happens or I see a danger ahead, I can just turn it off so that folks are safe.
Scientists say the electricity does not threaten nearby fishermen or others spending the day on the water.
The electrical current we put in the water is very localized. It goes down through the boat hull and then the current flows to those front hoops. So we don't really affect much water outside of the boat, maybe 4 or 5 feet on either side of the boat, maybe 10 feet straight down from the boat.
Once the electric current seizes the fish, they're scooped into the nets and dropped into the live tank. Researchers want to catch a wide variety to examine as many species as possible.
We're looking at for spotted bass and smallmouth bass and largemouth bass, rock bass, and then the sucker community. There's 5 or 6 different types of suckers in Big River that we're collecting today as well.
It's 13.5.
After the initial catch, the team returns to the shore to measure the fish, record data, and release them back into the wild. Mino says the electrofishing method is the most effective in studying local populations.
That's the best way for me to be efficient, to get as many fish as I can in a shorter period of time, to be able to make decisions on, is the fish community healthy? Are there enough fish out there for anglers to go after? Are the growth rates for the fish, doing well? And if the answer to any of those are, well, no, or not sure, we either need to go get some more information or perhaps change a fishing regulation to improve things.
Mino has been studying fish on the Big River for more than 20 years. He says gathering enough data to make informed decisions takes time.
I like to have at least 3 years of what I would call good quality data, something that's not interrupted by flooding or you know, a nasty cold front or rainstorm where I know we'll have trouble catching fish even with this gear. We looked for about 4 years before we decided to change the regulation on smallmouth bass, and then we looked another 3 years before we changed it on spotted bass, and it seems to be working.
Today, the team got a good start, but it still has to catch several hundred more fish.
We've got a ways to go yet before we can say anything about what the fish committee's like in Big River.
Mino and his colleagues typically sample the Big River about 3 times a year, and dozens of other crews do similar work across the state. And anglers, if you aren't getting any bites, don't get any big ideas. Electrofishing is illegal for anyone other than state biologists. Well, that will do it for Treasures of Jefferson County here on JCTV. Take care.